Welcome to a stripped down version of Miguel and Holly Uncensored. This is our off-air podcast that we do 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And they're doing some stuff to my computer, so I don't have access to anything.
Can you sing it?
Wait, see, this is when Jacob 2 times would be great to be like,
yes,
uncensored. Wait, how does it go?
I don't even know. How bad is it?
We've had the same
every
intro.
single 3 times a week. Uncouth.
No,
because it's called uncensored.
Wait.
I don't even know.
Uncouth? I know uncouth is in there.
I know, me too. Does it still say Unchained? No, I don't think so.
Wait. I'm pulling up
This is the stupidest intro that has ever
introed. Wait. Here we go.
Oh, go ahead.
Here we go. I got it.
Wait.
Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth. What you are about to hear is for mature audiences only. It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
There we go.
Hey.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Well, here we are. So yeah, they're working on my computer right now remotely, and so I don't have access to anything. So here we are. You just got us.
Yeah, it's just us chilling. No producer Kelvin yet.
He may join. So we're recording this Wednesday right now at 10:30. We've been doing here in Charlotte a supply drive for Helene in Western North Carolina, because those small cities, just the mountainous cities, is just insane. I listened to a podcast, which this is interesting. The New York Times does a podcast every day called The Daily. Where they pick one big story and they go in depth in it. And the podcast yesterday is they were like, everyone's been asking, how did the cities 300 miles from the coast of North Carolina flood like this? And it was actually interesting because they had one of the reporters who was on the storm chaser, or not the storm chasers, but the NOAA, where they go in the whatever.
Oh, the National Oceanic Atmosphere, whatever. NOAA.
I give you credit because there is no way I could have pulled that out from anywhere.
I think it's the land. I just had it open. I actually weirdly look at it a lot. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Okay. Well, one of the reporters from the New York Times went with them, where they basically go into the storm above it and they drop these things down so they can sort of get readings and gauges on what it, how big it is, the force.
I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, if you don't listen to podcasts, yesterday's one from Tuesday, The Daily from the New York Times, is really interesting. But one of the things that they talked about with how big this storm Helene was, and how it basically started to come up the Gulf, but then all these other storm systems that were in the area, like around Charlotte and Tennessee, it was so big, it connected all of them together. And so what happened is it pulled up the warm water from the Gulf through the storm over Georgia to North Carolina. And so that's how it dumped all of that water on North Carolina, because normally they don't see that much in a situation like this.
No, and I want to point out too, there were it was the conditions were for the perfect storm. So not only are several storms getting sucked into this thing, but also it was so fast. Usually if a storm, and a lot of hurricanes aren't that fast. They'll just kind of sit, and that's why sometimes we'd be like, oh, fat bitch, somebody or other, just
fat bitch Faye.
Remember fat bitch Faye? Just sitting over wherever you're located, because it's a rain event. They just dump rain on you. And that's why most hurricanes don't, they peter out once they hit land, because they're so slow and they don't have that warm energy from the water churning forward. So anyway, this one was going so fast. It covered from the tip of Florida up into those North Carolina mountains in 24 hours. You understand how fast that has to be moving? And it was so big. It was, when I saw, because like I said, I go to the NOAA website during hurricane season just to keep an eye out, and they were showing the satellite images. The width of this storm was nearly the entirety of the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, not quite, but almost. And so to have something that big traveling that fast, there's no wonder it just mowed down an entire swath of the United States. And the number I read in headlines today shocked me. It said it dropped 40 trillion gallons of water on the Southeast. 40 trillion gallons.
That's
So they
wild.
just sucked all this water up and just right over the mountains.
It is so insane. And so because of that, I mean, these towns, these small cities in the mountains are not used to getting that much
Not
rain
all at once.
And so, I mean, I've been seeing videos on TikTok from North Carolina friends who have family up there or who've gone up there to help, where, think about a mountain road when it's, winding up, where you'll go and then part of it is just gone from like mudslides and stuff. And it's just complete. So there's no way to get over those roads to be able to help those people.
Right.
So it is just the devastation is just unfathomable.
Some towns were like wiped away.
Yeah. I mean, there are some where they're like, we don't even know if they're going to be able to rebuild.
No. And like some people, like the amount of people that died, like it was, I just weirdly, and maybe it's because it moves so fast, I feel like, and so the people that don't live in like a place that's ever had a natural disaster are like, this is stupid. Everyone gave you warnings. It's like there was a perfect storm of not taking all the warnings quite as seriously.
Right.
Because, like, yes, if you're prone to flooding in Florida, you would have taken it seriously. But if you never flood in Florida and they're like, oh, the storm surge, you're like, well, that's not going to be a big thing for me. And then it ended up being a big thing. In the mountains, they were like, hey, this is going to be a heavy rain event. There's going to be landslides. There's going to be flash flooding. And people were like, okay, but that I haven't really experienced anything like that. So I can't really fathom it. And it's like, we should be fine. And they just weren't. It's like, yes, you want to take preparations, but also it's a lot of money, time, energy to evacuate. It's just that it's the perfect storm again of things where, it's like nobody knew it was going to do what it did, even though they gave warnings that it might do some of what it did. Right. That makes sense.
Well, and also too, one of the things that the chief meteorologist, Brad Penovich here in Charlotte on WCNC, what he said is that if you've never been through, even if you've lived, like if you've lived up in Asheville and those, smaller cities, Teresa's not sharing on Facebook today. It says
commented on Facebook.
Yeah, Zinda said it's on Facebook. I'm not sure, Teresa, what's happening there. Our technology.
Maybe is it not on all the Facebooks? Because usually isn't it on Hits and Miguel and Holly?
Yeah, it says it says it's on there. So I don't know. Sorry. That it's unfathomable. Like if you live in Asheville and you're like, okay, yeah, there's gonna be like some raining and some flooding, but like you cannot wrap your brain around and digest what happened.
No,
if it's never happened before.
A hurricane?
Right.
You don't even think, because most, like 99% of hurricanes, they get on land and then they just turn into some rainy weather.
Right.
They don't bring hurricane force devastation to the mountains of North Carolina. And I've seen so many people making so many stupid comments online. It makes me defensive of anybody that has been impacted by Hurricane Helene, because it's like, you just don't know. You don't know. Well, it's just hard.
I wish that like we as like, if you're just sitting at home and you want to be a keyboard warrior, anytime you see on any news station where they're talking about the devastation and you see those people being like, they had warnings, just be like, I want you to imagine right now, if you're in Asheville or Boone or one of these smaller cities that have been wiped off the map, and you get cell service for the first time, you've been cleaning for the past several days, trying to find your family members, no power, water. But then you finally get some and you're like, let me just get on social media just to see what's happening. Let me get caught up. And that's the first thing that you see. How does that make you fucking feel? That's horrible.
It is horrible.
It's horrible.
And it's such a privileged place to sit if you've never been through a natural disaster.
Right. Because you don't know why people, and also too, like, let's just say, even if you took the warning seriously, but we were saying off the air, it takes money to leave. If you're already living paycheck to paycheck and then you don't have money for gas just to get to work, but now you have to pay for gas to get out of your city.
And then, where are you going to stay?
Right.
You got to figure out where you're going to stay. What if you have pets? What if you have kids? Where are you going to go?
Are you able to go? Do you have a family member that's in a wheelchair? Do you have a wheelchair accessible place to go or a vehicle to get them? Like, just
have some grace.
Sometimes I wish we could just turn social media off. Like, I wish there was just a button that like the president could just push and just turn it off for a day.
For some people. Like if you don't have something nice to say, you don't get to say it today. You don't. It's the opposite of the purge.
Right. Yes.
It's the encourage.
Yes.
We're only saying encouraging words to each other. So you got something bad to say, it is not the day today.
Yes.
So you just sit at home and shout at your wall.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you get to do. And then tomorrow, if you want to come with your fucking hot takes,
Mm-hmm.
then you can do it then, but not today.
That's what we need AI for. That's the job that AI can do. If they see that you're writing some dumb stuff, you just delete it and they're like, you've been logged off for the day.
Ugh. But
Go
then, of
sit
course,
down.
people are like, that's not my right to free speech.
Sorry, it's the internet. It's different.
You can say it out loud.
You get free speech today when it's positive. We're in a natural disaster. It's emergency disaster preparedness.
Oh, God.
But anyway, so that's what Kelvin is doing. He has been helping out all morning long on the ground at Walmart here in Concord, helping people. And so now he's putting the show online. If you missed the show today for the Miguel and Holly Full Show podcast.
Mhm.
Also, too, I don't feel like the national media, from what I've seen, they're not talking a lot about what's been happening in Tampa and St. Pete.
No.
But because we live there and you live there and I see, everyone's Instagram stories, and the beaches with the sand is just insane.
Yeah.
Insane to see
It's like the storm picked up all the sand and dumped it 5 miles inland.
Right. It's
Like
just wild to see.
Feet of it.
Yeah. So that's been wild to see, and watching people sort of repair. And then the people that live in like Shore Acres and the Venetian Isles. And I think it was he used to do afternoons with us on Hits Hot 1015, Chase. He lives in that area, him and his wife and their kids. And he had a video yesterday of just driving down one of the streets in their neighborhood. And you just see everybody just has like all their items just on the front lawn,
all their belongings.
The belongings, yes.
Yeah, my fiance, because he does not do much on social media. So when I was telling him, because even if you live in the area and you're not paying attention to social media or the news, in some spots, you might not even realize how bad it is because maybe your area didn't get it so bad. Like if you're in like, one of those, I don't know, maybe like Brandon area didn't get much or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not in like by the coast of St. Pete or the Bay or like Sarasota, Bradenton area or whatever it is. He was driving to his gym and he was like, oh my God, when you drive past it, it's a whole other thing. It's just everything is wet and dirty and everybody's entire living rooms are now outside on the curb. And it's like, that's why, because, then like you said, the national news media isn't really focusing on that because there's so many different places to focus on.
Right.
And we're not going to play that game of like, well, who had it worse?
Right.
But I will say it was shocking for the Carolinas since nobody expects a hurricane. So that's why I feel like there's been maybe more national news coverage about the Carolinas because it was such a surprise.
And I think too, because it's like they're cut off if you live there. And it's like, it's still right now a rescue mission of like trying to get people out of their air where they have to airlift them because of what I described about the mountains and stuff like that, where I feel like that's why it's still like an ongoing situation. And just seeing those videos of like houses just like floating down the street, and it's like,
I know
people are just obviously just speechless. Like that's someone's house just floating down the river, or floating down the street.
Good Lord. Yeah, it's real crazy. So anyway.
Yeah. So there we are. So that's where we are right now, and we're dealing with everything.
All parts of the listening area.
I know. Oh my gosh, it's just been insane. Holly, did you have anything else that you really wanted? This is going to be a shorter podcast today because we're trying to get everything together for the rest of the day. We'll be out there for the
relief.
Yeah.
If you are in the Tampa area, the iHeart stations did a big drive yesterday. I know they were putting that out. And our old stomping grounds where we used to work I believe they're doing a drive today.
Which I also saw. I have to give them credit. I saw some of the people from our previous employer went out to the iHeart one yesterday, and they were donating. And I saw a picture on someone we used to work with Instagram, and that really warmed my heart, because sometimes in these radio wars, which for us seems so deciding life and death, where we're fighting for either ad dollars from advertisers or for ratings, and we're all just like in it. And we have some coworkers who we used to work with in our previous building who don't talk to us anymore because they're like, well, if you're not with us, you're against us. And we're like, okay, girl, that's the radio game, whatever,
I get it,
it's fine. But it was really heartwarming to see that yesterday on social media, that some of the people from Cox Media Group Tampa went out to donate to the iHeart.
That's good. I didn't see that. I wish I had.
Yeah. It's probably still up there, but I was like, that made me so happy.
I know, because we're all trying to do the same exact thing.
Right. Everybody, at the end of the day, it's all just business, whether it's radio or, your t-shirt shops going against each other. At the end of the day, nobody wants anyone to die or to lose all of their livelihoods.
And I feel like it is disasters that in which radio does really shine. Like the newsletter today, where they're like, old school media radios out here, surprisingly needed. Like, we get a newsletter every morning from the Charlotte area, and they're out here putting a headline that's like, old timey. Do you remember this thing called radio? It's been pretty instrumental in this disaster. And I'm like, what do you think we do here? But I will say, it was actually a hurricane. It was Katrina that made me realize what the point of local radio actually was, because that was, I was already working. Miguel, you were still in college, but I was already working, and it was in Ohio. And up until Katrina, like, hurricanes came, but it had been like at least a 10-year stretch since we had like a major one that rocked the US. And so then Hurricane Katrina hit, and our radio station, we were small, we were in Ohio. So we reached out to our competitors across town, and we were Clear Channel at the time, which is what iHeart eventually, used to be, whatever. Clear Channel turned into iHeart. So we were Clear Channel at the time. And we reached out to like the local radio station group, and we all got together in our parking lot and broadcasted live the whole day. Like, morning show guy from over there and morning show guy from our station were like tag teaming the broadcasts, which was the coolest thing that I had ever seen.
That's awesome.
And we literally had to have people staffed 24/7. So as like a young single person, I took the overnight shifts. And so it was exhausting, but it was like, oh, this is our purpose. Yeah. I get it now. And so that really put it in my head moving forward. This is what we do in radio. So any disasters that have come along, like, that's when radio is at its best.
Yeah.
When everyone is down, we rise up, because we're here to try to bring the town together with information and, drives and money, and to, keep people connected. And so it was like that during the pandemic. And it's like that now, anytime a disaster comes through. And that's like that anywhere. You've got earthquakes out in California. You can look to the local radio stations out there that are going to get together. So
yeah, that's one of the things that I feel like that really activates me. And there's a saying that my first boss used to always say about, like, we're a top 40 format. That's what every radio station has, a different format. And I wish I could remember his saying, what he used to say, where it's like, formats are for boring days, but you break the rules on something. Anyway, but that always stuck with me, that when some stuff is going down, that is when you need to be at your sharpest. And that's when your goal is to serve the community. My first instance of that, and I've talked about this before, was when I was in college radio, and we had a hostage situation. But
I love the hostage situation. So I tell my Katrina story all the time. You can tell the hostage. We all have the one.
I'm about to say, I'm sure I've told it several times over the past however many years we've been doing Miguel and Holly Uncensored. So I'll tell it again. This was in 2006. I was at Georgia Southern University on our college radio station, WVGS 91.9 The Buzz, Georgia Southern's 10 in a row radio station. I was Spanish Michael, and I used to talk like this.
Yeah, you were pretty high up there.
I was like, my name is Spanish Michael. Hi. I'm Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
And so it was a Saturday, and I was at the radio station working on something, And Kramer, who you hear us talk about, who we used to work with, him and I went to college together, and he was the boss of the college radio station at the time because he was a senior and I was a junior. And he called me and was like, hey, I'm at Waffle House and I heard somebody saying something about a bomb in Walmart. Can you get on the air and ask and talk about it and just see what it is? And now remember,
Mind you,
we're all 19, 20, like not worked professionally in radio.
That's why, I'm sorry, as a quick pause,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times I'm like, oh, it's cool that they let students manage y'all's radio station. They
Right.
did not do that at Ohio Northern, okay? There was a general manager who was a staff member. So,
Right.
like, nothing could go, like, if you were going to do any sort of thing like that, it had to go through him first. Or he would reach out and be like, activate, like, the whoever it was. Like,
Right.
it was never just fully student run. And now thinking about it, I'm like, that's probably for the best.
Yeah. I mean, it was, but here's the thing is we learned so many lessons from it. And because at that time, because before Kramer was the program director, it was like every other college radio station where it was like every 4 hours or every hour there was a different show. Like here's Heavy Metal Tuesday or here's, but it was everything.
Formats?
It was different formats for every DJ. You could play your own music.
Oh,
but then when Kramer got there and then I sort of helped, shape it up, we turned it into a real top 40, but it was like top 40 college. So we were like playing stuff. Like I would, like my morning show, I would like play my favorite songs every other hour.
Didn't we all sneak our favorite songs in? I mean, our radio station was top 40 at night, but smooth jazz during the day. And like I would pick out like the deep cuts that were like kind of funky during the smooth jazz hours where I'd be like, we haven't heard this one from Teddy Pendergrass in a while. We're gonna get down. Like, you sneak it in. Anyway.
Absolutely. And so I was there doing that Saturday, and he called me and was like, hey, get on the radio and ask about the bomb at Walmart. So I get on the radio and I'm like, hey, 91.9 The Buzz, Georgia Southern 10 in a row station. It's Spanish Michael. I just got off the phone with I think he went by Steven at that time. And I was like, hey, we heard there's a bomb at Walmart. Have you heard anything? Call us up. And whatever the station's number was. 10 minutes later, I'm in the station in the office. The hotline starts blinging, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's our advisor. No, it was the FBI. And they were like, first off, there's not a bomb threat at Walmart, so I need you to go and retract that statement. Secondly, it's a hostage situation we're dealing with. So please make sure that you go on the air with facts, not with rumors and hearsay. And I was like, okay. Spanish Michael is sorry.
What did you feel in your body when you found out it was the FBI?
Like a dummy, like the biggest dummy that's ever dummy.
But like if it were me, I would have felt panic because if I do something wrong, like my entire insides just shut down. Like they kind of like implode, like they crush in on themselves. And I'm like, like I'm going to go to jail.
Right. Well, for me, I think I just probably was like, I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I feel like, because the FBI called, I'm like, I'm either going to get in trouble with the law or I'm going to get suspended from the radio station.
Right.
Because like none of us knew, but thankfully, like it was a college radio station on a Saturday.
They were probably figured like you didn't reach that many people.
Right.
Like enough to be like, don't fuck up a hostage situation.
Right.
Please.
So here's what was cool about after we got through that embarrassing look. We called everybody, all the DJs in, and we did hostage because this was, of course, Kramer. So it was hostage standoff 2006. And we were staffed the entire day. So we had our friend Courtney J. She was Statesboro Sweetheart. She was out there with her Southern voice, reporting live. But here was the cool part is that like all the Savannah stations had come up because it was a law office in downtown Statesboro. So they were all like behind the FBI and the SWAT team and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so Courtney J, this little college student, was there with all the news stations from Savannah who had come up to cover it. And they all went back to Savannah overnight. And so, of course, we were like, well, we're going to be the ones in Statesboro providing you with the news. We stayed on all night long, just regurgitating the same information. And so then we were like, okay, what would like CNN do? So we were like, well, let's try to get some other lawyers on the phone. Let's get some professionals on the phone. And so it was like such a like us just trying to guess what the real professionals would do.
Right.
But it was a real education on what to do in a time of crises like that and how to get professionals on the phone to be able to help you navigate your audience through it. And I really do think for all of us that went through it was such a learning experience, and for the Statesboro audience, where I think for the first time they looked at this college radio station as an actual beacon of news and hope. And I really think for the next like 5 or 10 years, maybe it changed the trajectory of that radio station. Now I think it sounds just like a college radio station because, you know, all of that legacy just sort of washes away, and every year with new people come in. But I think for a long time, people really did.
At least it's still a radio station.
Yeah.
I don't. Ohio Northern doesn't even have a broadcasting program anymore.
Oh, it's still there. Well, my friend Andrew was driving through from Savannah or from Atlanta to Savannah and went through Statesboro or the Signal. And he was like, some of the what we call sweepers that we created still on the air.
Oh, damn.
Where it's like 91.9 the buzz. Georgia Southern road station. But they don't even call it the buzz anymore.
Okay, so it's just hanging out on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, I love how Doe Eyes like Kramer always starting shit. Ain't that right?
Girl, you ain't. Wait. We've told this story many times. I don't think we've ever gotten his side of things.
The only question I have is why he thought he should call you and tell you to go on the air with a bomb threat rumor.
Because he wanted to be first.
Yeah.
He wanted to be. I hope he answers his phone.
Oh, you know who texted me?
Who?
Mandy.
Oh, look at that. We're bringing all the old people back.
I know.
Kramer,
I haven't heard from Mandy in a dog's age.
Look at that. Hold on. Let me just call him because he'd just be calling us to be on his show.
I know.
It's 11 o'clock their time. Let me call Kramer real quick, see if he'll answer.
Yeah, maybe he's available.
267. Oh, now me saying his number out loud. I forgot we were doing a podcast.
Okay, we're just hanging out.
I know
what happens.
Sorry,
we have the conversation.
Not me like do. Let's see if he'll pick
1,
up.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe not.
Let's see, because you know he'd be leaving that radio station at 10:05.
Yes. Well,
your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
We're
the
Tim
person
and I
you're
agree.
trying
We're
to
like,
reach
listen.
Dang it.
Sometimes you need to go sit. Like, I love how Kelvin, our producer Kelvin, is always like, I go home, I come to work, I go home or whatever. And I'm like, listen, I got 10 years on you, okay? I want to go sit. I'm going to go sit down somewhere.
I want to sit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get him on another time to talk from his side of this, the scene of the hostage standoff 2006.
It was like you guys were in Die Hard.
Oh, literally. That's why whenever there's sort of any situation, I'm like, it is time to report and be on the scene.
Yeah.
Kelvin?
Yes.
We're on the podcast still. How you doing?
I'm still working. Y'all yap a lot of things to save.
So, yeah. Well, that's our job. We get paid to yap.
I love it.
That's what we're supposed to do. Just real quick before we end things, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling good.
How was it out there at Walmart?
It was wonderful. I mean, I'm not a stranger to these donation drives, just living in South Florida. But just seeing the community come together and help out is always like the best feeling ever. So that's really what we saw the majority of the time. Just at first, obviously at 7 a.m., I'm like, damn, ain't nobody here.
Right.
And then it just started to pick up by like 7:30, 7:40. And so it was continuous. It never stopped. More volunteers kept growing and growing and growing. There was some TikTokers, I think, out there. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm assuming. This woman was just there filming, and she was like, I have my Venmo up, and we're here at Walmart. If you guys want to send any donations. And I don't know why a part of me was like, girl, put the phone down and go help.
Yeah.
I don't need, we don't need, but obviously also, I try to have Miguel's positive juju in my mind sometimes when that happens and not be mean. And I always remember him saying, like, listen, everybody helps in whatever way that they can. And so I felt like that's what she was doing. I don't know what her platform was or how big it is. And maybe it's massive and maybe she was driving more people. I have no idea. Right. But, I quickly checked myself before I was like, bitch, help.
Hold on a minute.
You're like, hold it.
How do I reframe this? But yeah, no, it is a little bit sus. Only because I'm like, how do I know for sure that if I Venmo you,
Right. That too.
you're going to go buy things.
I'm like, maybe you should just do the Red Cross or someone else.
Yeah, that's always a little sketchy. They're going through that right now in St. Pete with that old Facebook group. It's like I Love St. Pete.
Oh, I saw some of the controversy about that.
The wild stuff that's come out of that. I don't know the truth, by the way, and I don't know many of the details, but it's like that's a big point of contention where it's like people would give money to this one guy, and then the guy would be like, well, we're using this to help other people, but like, how much of it did they use to help other people? And where did it go? And where are the receipts at? Anyway.
That's why I want no money. Well, Kelvin, thank you for what you did today. We appreciate it.
Of course. I had an amazing time. So I'm super happy I did it. And I also got to sleep in a little bit. So it was a win-win.
Win-win for all things. We're going to talk to Kramer. He just said he can talk real quick. So we'll let you get back to that. Kelvin, okay?
I'll be here. Bye.
All right. Let's call Kramer real quick.
Does he know why we're calling him?
No, I didn't tell him.
Wait.
We're on the podcast now.
On?
Yeah, we're on now.
Okay. Before you say something terrible about something I did like 20 years ago, I want to say I feel really sad about what's happening in North Carolina, and I have a lot of empathy for what your state is going through. So I want to send a lot of love out to everyone in North Carolina.
Well, thank you.
Because I didn't really realize how bad it was there until
we were just
really
talking about
yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of us didn't because those mountainous areas are so cut off from everything. A lot of us didn't know. And then as we started to see some of the pictures and videos, it's like, holy crap, some of these towns have just been wiped off the map. But yeah, so we've been talking about that. But we do before we
I'm sure that's what you wanted to talk about. I'm sure you wanted my commentary on something really meaningful.
Absolutely. Well, okay, so
by the way, are you taking a nap? Why you sound sleepy?
No, I just got home. I'm just bracing for impact. When I saw Charlotte, North Carolina come through, I was like, somebody must want my money. Somebody wants my money, and I was like, damn it, what? Like,
well,
no,
want some, but it's not your money. No, it's not. But it's actually fun. It's a fun one.
Yeah, this is fun. This is fun.
I took a CBD gummy last night for the first time in like 10 years, and it didn't sit well, and so I really slept weird. So that's why I sound tired.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, but I'm ready for a fun one. I'm sure it's going to be real fun. I really always look good when you guys call me. So
this is great.
Whenever my name comes up on the podcast, I always walk away sounding like really good. So
no. This is good because this actually takes it all the way back to you and I in college. And remember hostage takeoff or standoff 2006?
Yes.
So we were talking about just how radio, our lessons in radio growing up, and how
we learned how to handle it, and like to set the stage, because obviously this whole podcast we've been talking about the hurricane, all the different aspects, the devastation in both Tampa, St. Pete, and in Western North Carolina, all of it. And I was like, that's what radio does really well, is we come together in a crisis and provide like information and an outlet for the community and all this stuff. And I was saying that my first lesson in this was actually Hurricane Katrina, because I was working by that time. And I was just like literally just out of college. And so what we did was like we broadcasted for like a week from the parking lot. It brought all of the competitors together for a broadcast. It was like crazy. And that's when I learned. And then after I talked about my Hurricane Katrina experience, Miguel's like, well, let me tell you for the umpteenth time on this podcast, let me tell you about my lesson in.
Miguel's whole identity is hostage standoff 2006. I feel like that's like his whole identity.
He does love that. He loves to trot out that story. So that's why you're here.
Well, I wanted to, because you know how like over time stories in your head probably may not be exactly what happened. But so were you at Waffle House and you heard there was a bomb at Walmart, or like how did that go down?
I think that's what happened. I think somebody texted me and was like, and keep in mind it was like T9 text.
Yes.
So it may not have even said bomb. It may
Hey, there's a sale on fishing rods at Walmart.
Not rods.
It wasn't even like a full text about, it wasn't even like a full sentence probably. And so I probably just called up there and was like, I just got BMB, WMRT.
Oh, stop! I have to pee.
You might want to broadcast to the whole entire, 100,000 watt area that there's a bomb at Walmart. I think that's what it was. Somebody just tipped me off, and I did zero research.
Well,
you guys were on
You're
the
a college
air,
student,
right?
Whatever.
Yeah, like I don't know. We really did. I mean, in hindsight, it was terrible preparation.
Yeah.
But nobody, I'm sure, listen, it was college. Okay. You want to be cutting edge. You're trying to put together like, let's show people we can put together a real radio station. And you have always been a go-getter.
Right. We obviously we obviously shot second aim. What you know what it is? Whatever.
It was shoot, ready, aim, or whatever.
Right. So this was going to be a big story. In my mind, it was like, this could be really big. So let's just go ahead and put it out there and let's see if we're wrong.
Because that's how CNN and the BBC do it. They say, let's just put it out and see if someone refutes it.
Well, nowadays you do have.
I skipped a few classes on integrity, obviously.
Some of the things. Again, nowadays some people be doing that. Anyway,
I was just skipping ahead. I mean, I was in the forefront of journalism here. Like,
right.
We don't need any sources. I just wanted to I just needed to click. I was like at the forefront of clickbait. Right?
Yes.
I was like,
you were the definition of clickbait.
I do feel like you maybe invented clickbait.
I did. So I think someone just like called me or texted me and was just like, I hear there's a bomb at Walmart. And I was like, oh no. If that's my first reaction, I was like, well, in like 19-year-old fashion, however old you are at that age, maybe I was 20 or 21. I was like, well, I don't think I was 21. I was probably 20. And I called Miguel and I was like, y'all, I hear that there's a bomb at Walmart. Just go on the air and see what you could find out. I think is what I told you to do, right?
Yeah, that's what Miguel's recalls.
Yeah, that's where my memory picks up. Is I was there.
I don't think I confirmed it. I think they just said, see what you can find out.
Yes.
So,
and I did. And
he did. And then in my mind from there, it was, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't like this in reality, but it was, I mean, it felt like it was like CNN headquarters, it felt like we were true journalists at that point. It felt like we had a full news operation running, but I'm sure it was nothing like that in reality. But
it was, I mean, because I think I remember like we had Domino's that was a sponsor of the station, and they like brought pizzas up, and they were like, "Thank you all so much for keeping us updated on what's happening." And we were like, "We are the true journal." And then I remember, now this is so college. I remember we were like, yeah, and all the other Savannah TV stations have gone back. We're the only ones with live 24/7 wall-to-wall coverage. Girl, It was
First off, was there even a hostage situation? I don't even know if there was one. Was there one?
So actually,
I don't think we ever confirmed it.
There is. I actually have looked up the article, and there's something from, I think, Savannah Morning News or one of the TV stations, because I was telling the story to someone else recently.
Miguel really loves this story. This is one of his ones that he trots out.
It is. This is like a cocktail story, and I'm like, let me tell you about this one time.
It's a good story.
It is, and I Googled it, and there was like a whole write-up about it. So it did happen. There was a hostage standoff situation in Statesboro in 2006. So.
I couldn't even remember. I didn't care if there was one or not. It didn't really matter to me. I just liked the drama of it all. It was just
and fun. That right there, that whole sentence sums up the entire That Guy Kramer morning show premise. For years.
That was Holly's worst 5 years of her life.
I did have to go through a bit of some personal turmoil.
But
that motto,
we all made it out on the other side.
We did. Look how well we came. Good Lord.
Kramer, how's everything going in Baltimore? You just signed a new deal for your new radio station, or your radio station.
Radio's really going well right now. I don't know about you guys, but it's radio's thriving.
Talk about your company and the news that just came out yesterday.
Yeah. Listenership strong.
Yeah.
So I feel really good about the trajectory of the medium.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Feel really positive. People are flocking to radio right now. So
some people are.
Yes, listen, you got another 20 years in the business, so you better get it.
Yeah, I'm planning my retirement in this business. So
hey, let's be positive. You're gonna hear that guy Kramer in Baltimore for the next 20 years. So you get ready,
girl. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Will I make it through this 2-year contract? I don't know. I can't. That part I don't know. But
yes, he will.
He will. He got 2 years on his contract. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, praise the Lord. How can people find?
Where's Kelvin? Kelvin hasn't a word. Where's he at?
Oh yeah, no.
He's actually working on the show. He was out at our supply drive that we were doing today. So he's getting the show online, and then I'm headed out there in just a little bit.
Oh, well, good for you guys. Helping the community.
Yeah,
that will keep radio relevant, honestly. That's really good for you guys.
That's what we do. How can people find your podcast, Mr. Kramer?
Well, I have a show called The Certified Mama's Boy, which, by the way, do you guys know I've done 1,000 episodes this week? I've done 1,000 episodes of that show.
Wow.
I did not know.
That is impressive. Congratulations.
I'm like, I got to get a hobby. Like, that was fun during COVID, but now it's like sad. You know, people that started podcast during COVID, it was like kind of cute. Now it's like, why do you have 1,000 episodes of that show?
That's a lot of episodes.
So yeah, that's it's called Certified Mama's Boy. And then Jess, my co-host tonight, it's called Kramer and Jess Uncensored, because we totally ripped off Miguel and Holly, just like we do half their bits. So
and vice versa.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what radio is.
That's what we do.
You don't have to actually listen to both of our shows. It's pretty much the same show.
Yes. You can flip back.
There's no point in actually listening to both of our shows.
No, literally, like you would be surprised the amount of text that Kramer and I send back and forth to each other with ideas, and we're like, sounds very similar to what I heard in Baltimore. Now I'm hearing it in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Don't listen to both. Actually, don't. Just listen to Certified Mama's Boy. So,
okay.
All right.
Well, thank you, Kramer. Y'all stay safe up there.
Love you guys.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Holly. Yes. It's supposed to be a short podcast. Now we're 40 minutes in.
This is why we are yappers.
Literally. How can people find you on social media?
I gotta pee also. Okay, so I've been holding it's Radio Holly on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. Those are my main 3.
Mine is at Miguel Fuller. You can find me everywhere. And Kelvin, are you still listening? Are you still there?
I sure am.
Oh,
and
hi.
Where can people find you?
At Kelvin Live, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.
All right. We'll see you all on Friday. Bye.